This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen The Valet, a new romantic comedy from director Richard Wong. Antonio is a 40-something Mexican man working as a valet, living with his mother, and generally making ends meet while trying to reconnect with his wife. Olivia is a celebrity actress on the cusp of a film premiere who is seeing a married billionaire in private. Their lives collide almost literally when Antonio is caught in a paparazzi photo of Olivia and her lover, leading the two to have to bring him into a plan to save their reputations by having Antonio pose as her boyfriend until suspicion and other events pass. However, Olivia finds herself having a lot to learn from Antonio about his way of life, seeing what she's been missing out upon. And he, in turn, ends up gaining a new perspective of himself as he gets swept up by this newfound fame. This is a pretty middle road kind of rom-com, with the usual formulas and conventions of any other film of the genre, while still offering enough newer ideas to keep things different, mostly in how it expands beyond the romance and goes into other story themes. It does spend a bit more time on character and world development to do this, though that generally depends on whatever's more important to the greater story. Some characters in specific are more superficial and caricatured in their portrayals, and thus they are annoyingly simple, to the point that they may as well be holding a sign that says, "I am the bad guy," or "I am silly and incompetent." Inversely, the lead characters do get some nice development, Antonio getting a steady amount from the start, of course. Olivia and others do see their share of progression, but in their cases it really only comes after the halfway point of the story. Not that it's an unwelcome shift, of course, but I just think it could have been sooner, especially since it almost makes the movie seem like Antonio's story when it's meant to be more evenly balanced. There almost seems to be more time spent developing the world around the characters, again for the sake of giving the movie stronger themes and a real weight to it. It doesn't quite go far enough, since some of the subplots that result from this end up being pushed by the wayside or settled without any real fanfare, mostly just to tie everything up in a nice bow and go home. To put it simply, it's really more of a slow burn of a movie, building up the world before the story, and it's an approach that has advantages and drawbacks, mostly in that it stretches out what could have been a snappier story. And the only other issue I have in all of this is the casting of a visibly older man with more than one woman at least half his age. They do briefly bring it up, but it's never questioned afterwards. Anyways, because the main story itself tries to stay down to earth, the technical aspects of The Valet are also a bit more muted overall. There's plenty of sparkle in a few scenes, generally when it comes to the luxurious lifestyles of Olivia and a few others. It makes for a nice visual separation of her and Antonio's social classes, with his home life being far quieter. The film's production value seems to handle the more expensive side of things, though there are some times where the cracks can be seen and you can really see how much money was probably put into the film. The cinematography ultimately leans more into framing characters than visual storytelling on its own, though not necessarily to try and hide any of those flaws, and so it doesn't play into the film's other themes as much as it could, I feel. Sometimes it does have a good visual moment, but those just might be accidental. Sound design and color choices are also more practical than not, again more to let the story itself come out than presented in a more cinematic or personal fashion. There really isn't much to say about the movie on this level, really. since any stylization that does occur is usually a spur of the moment detail that adds to the comedy, rather than be something more consistent as a storytelling device. The story itself does its part to justify that choice, I guess, but then it goes a bit further and almost overloads itself on trying to be more than just a romantic comedy. Overall, the film isn't awful or incompetent at all, but if it were just a bit shorter and snappier, then those other flaws might not be as noticeable as they are. The Valet, Richard Wong, 2022. 3 stars. I'd say that it's a fine movie to see, though it's not something you need to rush out there and watch. It's more like something you can watch if you want to detox from something heavier. Maybe. I don't have any science behind that idea. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. The credits said that this is actually a remake of another movie by the same name. I wonder what that one's like. Maybe it's shorter.